going to be straight into the barrel, ladies and gentlemen.
Toledo widens the stance and takes off.
Crunch. Comes the rail work. Of course he's going to throw down another massive air rev. Chink, he goes it again. Slater's back.
It's been a long wait for the superheat, and now it's officially on. Filipe Toledo taking on Kelly Slater in a 30-minute matchup, and the winner will move on to the semifinals. More and more fans getting down to the water's edge as close as they can to see this opening exchange that we've all been waiting for. Joe Trappell with Potts for the call. Kelly versus Filipe. All the hype for good reason. Toledo being the best in high-performance conditions on tour, gaining that award from that performance he had at Snapper back in 2015. And Will Kelly had that same role as Filipe. He was the Filipe throughout the entire 90s, basically setting the scale every time Kelly paddled out. Now at 47, taking on Filipe, who's half his age, in really fun conditions at Karamas.
Yeah, you got that right, Joe. Kelly's he's ruined a lot of people's careers, let me tell you right now, and Filipe will as well. But what a heat, you know. It's kind of the old guard passing the torch down to the new guard, but the old guard's back with some vengeance, and that's the scary part. I mean, you know, he's a super smart competitor. He knows how to win heats, and you know, I think for him the heat started a week ago when he found out he had Filipe Toledo. You know, yesterday just a little bit of an insight there on you know, Kelly never serves KFCs ever, especially when it's onshore. So him paddling out there that afternoon was a pure ploy to get into Filipe's head.
It was pretty interesting just seeing Toledo just destroying that session yesterday afternoon in the lead up, and all of a sudden Kelly popped up. Toledo got one more wave and went into the beach. It took a little break as he was surfing with David Silva, but you're always just anticipating when the heat starts. This one officially starting now. Filipe up and out. That'll just give Kelly priority. 25 minutes and 45 seconds still to go. Toledo also created some space there by taking that wave. Moving back into position. Let's see if he'll get started now. Filipe off the bottom, first turn off the roof. Down carve to set up the lip to hit. Blowtail reverse, incomplete over the shallow reef. Kelly's looking for the tube. He's disappeared and come flying out to a big roundhouse cutback. And Kelly with a great position to put himself out the back. What an interesting start to the matchup.
You know, I think that's how Kelly's going to beat Toledo, by being on the better waves, by getting those tube rides, by comboing it up with some big open face maneuvers as well. Filipe, well, we know he doesn't need the best wave out there to produce some crazy stuff, so we're going to see two different approaches. Straight off the bat, Toledo picking a marginal wave, but this kid is so dangerous no matter what kind of wave he's on. And then the ability to then get an air in a part of the wave that really shouldn't be an air section. This wave just really didn't cooperate. All of a sudden there's this weird lump in the ocean at the moment, I think due to the tide, but Toledo connecting nicely with the lip on that first maneuver. And then watch the carve here, he extends it all the way down, opens those shoulders, hits that white water and gets just that little bit of extra speed necessary. And then behind Kelly. This is the kind of wave Kelly's looking for. Straight into the barrel and then those big open face wrapping cutback. One of the best wrapping cutbacks on the tour at the moment, Joe. Extending the body there, you can see standing nice and tall, now crouching, getting himself in position. Talk about tube riding. Kelly still, in my eyes, the best in the world, Joe.
100%. Laying down that rail, he's throwing down some great carving maneuvers, full wrap and a tight rebound to kick things off out in front against Filipe Toledo. Toledo tried to just create some space getting that first wave. Wanted to start off with a bang on the first. A 2.83 because he fell on the finish. A 4.83 start for Kelly with a barrel to wrapping combination. More waves on the way. Toledo under priority. Pulls in under the hood. Completion there for Filipe, and he hopped straight out. So not deciding to commit to the open face there on the way out of the pit. Kelly putting himself right on the best part of the wave of the reef. That's just going to bottom out a little bit too deep. And that one's going to shut down. So Karama's still playing some tricks on the world's best, especially with wave selection out here. It's been pretty challenging this morning.
Yeah, there's a real sort of, I don't know, a little bit of a lump on the ocean at the moment. That wind has absolutely gone down to 0. So there's a weird sort of ripple or chop that's going across the wave, which kind of is going to make it a lot harder to read. Not as easy to predict what's going to happen. So those, you're going to see a lot of takeoff and kickouts, a lot of, you know, just having a look at it, so to speak, and not necessarily being those counting waves, but sets coming through. It should improve as that tide comes in, though.
Kelly with priority, sitting a little bit wide. Filipe Toledo a little deeper on the reef. Toledo looking for his 8th CT win here on finals day. Kelly looking for his 56th CT win of his career. Setting up this bowly section. Kelly pulls right under the hood. Deep on this one, still traveling. Kelly fighting for the finish. And goes down swinging. Just like you mentioned, one of the best barrel riders in the world. Most people wouldn't have got that far in a tube like that.
Most people wouldn't even look for the tube on a wave like that, Joe. That was incredible stuff from Kelly Slater. And that's how he's going to take down Toledo, let me tell you.
Filipe now in position, bowling up, arm drag, now nice and deep, stalling that tube right, and comes out. Little top turn wrap, all foam, and now reef. He commits to it. Still fitting in a major turn.
Get out of there.
As his fins are just skipping on the top of that reef, getting the completion right in front of Kelly with 21 to go.
Well, it's going to be a shootout, that's for sure. Take nothing away from Toledo. He's getting better at every aspect of the game. He's not just an air guy. He's improved on his power. He's improved on his rail game. He's getting better in the tube. The heavy water waves are going to come. And this is a little bit of an inside double grab here. Slows himself down right in front of Kelly. Front row seats for Slater on that occasion. And Toledo fights his way out. That was a critical tube right there from Filipe Toledo. And then right here, that was dangerous stuff there from Filipe.
A bomb setting up out the back for Kelly. Standing room only. And that section is going to land right on top of him at the end. The surf is pumping here at Karamas for the superheat. 2 near makes for Kelly trying to pull off the impossible, which he became famous for throughout domination through the early 90s. The youngest ever to win a world title when he was 20. The oldest world champ back in 2011. Getting that 11th world title to be called the greatest of all time. With Filipe now with 7 wins. When Kelly achieved his 7th, he was on road to his 2nd world title of his career. And just kept on dominating. That most years picking up several wins. Even took a few years off. Just had rivals from Kong back in the day, from Potts back in the day before that, and all the way through the Medina John era. How did he make those sections?
Oh my gosh. Well, the freakish nature of Kelly Slater, that's how he made him, Joe. I mean, he sees things in waves that no one else does. There's this opportunity right here, up and over the first foam ball. Just to make that section was incredible. And then you saw another glimpse of him again, just styling through, and unfortunate that foam ball just collapsing on him, and he still tried to make it. Almost came out of the section at the bottom of that wave there. That was so close. And then Filipe right behind him, double drag, super deep. That wave a little bit more wide open, and Kelly had to duck right under that. Filipe comes out. It wasn't a clean exit, and that's why we're only going to see a score in that 6.33 for that wave from Filipe Toledo. I thought that a little low.
Next one setting up for Kelly. Bottom drops out. Another chance at the tube. This one's going to spit him out. Wide open section to lay that rail down. Has to recover quickly with the bottom dropping out. And Kelly surviving some wild sections at Karamas.
Oh my God. This is what we came to see, Joe. This Karamas is just lit up for the superheat of this round. The crowd on the beach, every single wave, you can hear them cheering for both these guys.
You can see the water just sucking off the reef on the takeoff here.
Yeah, just stalling straight into the barrel, and then extra little section, and it goes into this beautiful cutback. I mean, one of the best at it. Cutting it short. Wow, that was critical right there. That's a free fall drop. And Kelly sticking with this wave. Get out of there, that's for sure. I love the way he just slides straight into it, Joe. There's no sort of bottom turning. He just kind of knifes that board straight into the barrel. And then cutting back, identifying he needed to cut that one short just to make it. Very dangerous wave through the inside here. You know, it is a playground, but it also comes with consequence. You heard Kolohe got hurt yesterday afternoon, and Kelly Slater sliding straight into a wave. This is going to be one of his better waves and go into his top 2, Joe. It spits, and he gets another bonus section on the end of it. And then watch how he just leans onto this rail right here. Opens the shoulders, drives it all the way around, always looking at the wave, deciding what he's going to do next. Cutting that wrapping cutback short, and somehow makes that free fall drop. Critical stuff there from Kelly Slater. And look at the score.
Incredible commitment to Kelly over that shallow reef, and just played with that gurgling and inside corner. Kelly will get the lead change now, 7.33 compared to Felipe's 6.33, so a point better on the comparison. And now Toledo needs a 5.84 to answer back in the superheat. A couple of judges throwing 7.5s, well, 3 of them in fact. They dropped the high and the low, averaged the middle 3. And Kelly and Felipe battling, 2 of the highest scoring athletes on tour with so many 10s in their career. Kelly famous for perfect heats around the world. Toledo famous for a lot of 10s in his finals that have carried him on to victories. Kelly takes a look under priority. He's going to let that one go.
I thought Felipe's was a little higher than a 6.33 if Kelly's was a 7.33. I thought Felipe's barrel was a lot longer. You know, a lot deeper maybe as well. They both had to slow themselves down and manufacture it. Both had a kind of a messy exit. Kelly had the big wrapping cutback though, so was that the difference? Was there a point in that cutback to make that wave a 1-point difference?
Interesting comparisons. Both with barrels to start. Felipe had to grab the wall to suck himself back into the pit, where Kelly fell into it on the takeoff. And it kind of felt like Kelly deserved to make one after the previous 2 rides that he traveled for so long in.
I mean, that one he didn't make was a 10-point ride for sure.
Here comes Slater from Cocoa Beach, Florida. Deep on that one. That thing just detonating on the reef. Felipe wanting the update of the situation.
You can see the kind of waves that Kelly's looking for. It's those not so perfect waves. They're more the ugly ones, the ones that are kind of straightening on the reef and really got those dangerous end sections.
Here's a split screen of their best wave spots.
All right, well, they both kind of had to slow themselves down. Kelly got straight in. Felipe took a little while to get in. Kelly comes out. Felipe's still in the barrel, and again gets that end section. That was a little bit of a messier exit for Felipe. Kelly gets the big wrapping cutback. Felipe's cutback maybe not as good. I mean, we're splitting hairs right there.
Good to see both barrel rides. Felipe so talented in frontside barrels as well. A guy that's had a 10 to his name at the Pipe Masters. And when you go back to their heat last year when Toledo was in the title race, he almost made one of the best barrels of the contest. Late takeoff right under the hood. Kelly Slater gets another vision in the Tuba Karamas. Swinging the wrapping cutback will come off the rebound. Now Toledo's turn, hugging the wall. Transitions out of the pit. Highline rail carve right in front of Kelly. Patience to drill it off the top. He'll run out of room. And both of them right in the same spot. Felipe will just start paddling back out in front of Kelly for the priority battle with 13:40 to go.
You know what I'm seeing right now, Joe? I'm seeing Felipe play right into Kelly's hands. He's playing Kelly's game. He's trying to go tube for tube with Kelly, and very, very few times you're going to come out on top with that game. What he needs to do is look for a big air section and go to the air. I mean, Kelly's sliding. How did he make that? Super late drop. Board was sliding sideways, and then that big wrapping cutty. You can do that all day long, Joe. Filipe as well. I mean, he's got to go to the air. Look at this takeoff from Kelly Slater. Sliding, the fins give way. I mean, tiptoe drop right there for Kelly. And it just puts him in such a good spot. I mean, he's that good at it. And I'm seeing Filipe play into Kelly's hands right now, and they're trying to go barrel for barrel. And as I said before, not many guys come out on top of Kelly when you're going in a tube shootout. What Filipe needs to do is to change it up, maybe find one of those big air sections, try and find a big air rotator, maybe one or two a wave. I mean, at the moment, he's looking a little bit off. Beautiful barrel, though. Don't get me wrong, he's surfing incredibly well, but he's playing Kelly's game at the moment, Joe. Not a very deep tube ride, and then this wave not cooperating with the big open face, kind of going a little fat. Not really allowing him to make that turn, super dynamic. And then as this wave goes into the deeper channel, it doesn't really give him anything to hit, and that board skips out. So I'd like to see Filipe go back to basics, go back to what he knows, and get some areas going.
Filipe Toledo hasn't gone down to Kelly in performance conditions with previous wins at lowers in France. Ended up missing their matchup in J-Bay the year Kelly hurt his foot. So that was a walkthrough for Toledo that year, and then got his first loss to Kelly at the Pipe Masters last season, setting up a huge heat here in the quarters with still 12 minutes remaining. Toledo chasing the greatest of all time in front of a solid crowd at finals day. Welcome back to the Super Heat here at the Corona Bali Protected. Quarter 3 as Filipe versus Kelly. Toledo up now, going for the big tail-high whip off the roof. Feel like you heard Martin Potter say go to the air, make a point of difference against Kelly in these types of waves. It's still 12.3 to 10.53 with the number. Scored on their top 2, no wave max. We're expecting conditions to improve throughout finals day on the last day of the waiting period. Waiting for this matchup to come true, looking at all the hype reels on the WSL Instagram, on worldsurfleague.com as well, to talk about these two athletes. Kelly even going on to say that Toledo's the best in high performance conditions. Today, though, with the conditions they have in this heat, with the bottom dropping out, the reef showing up on the inside, it doesn't have that pretty canvas where you're going to maybe just see like 18 turns down the line. That barrel's been a big part of the score line throughout a lot of the heats today.
Well, you can't ignore it, can you?
Late takeoff. Filipe gets out of the way because Kelly's got priority. Throwing down the wrapping cutback is Slater. He'll lose the second maneuver. But these guys not giving each other an inch.
That was an interesting situation right there. Filipe really forcing the issue. You got to be careful right there. That's a real close call with an interference. It's the last thing you want to do right now. Filipe is well and truly in this heat, but you can see forcing Kelly. Kelly not showing any kind of interest right there. And as soon as Filipe makes a movement for the wave, Kelly says, you know what, I think I'll go. That was critical stuff. And I don't even think this wave's going to count. So just a little bit of a wrapping cutback for Kelly, and kind of a kick out sort of turn. So it's funny they both fought for that wave, and it was kind of a real low quality wave.
Well, you can see the psych out routine going on with these competitors at this level. Kelly not trying to play into Filipe's game, didn't want to give him too much, and took off late for Toledo to send himself over the falls to avoid an interference. It is amazing to watch these guys compete at a high level here at Karamas. 8:10 to go, waves on the way. Priority is with Filipe. And looks like he's committed. Real deep, hollow on the takeoff, and he's too deep. Step straight off, priority back to Kelly.
I think for the first time in this event, we're looking at Filipe being slightly rattled. He hasn't played his game. He's falling into Kelly's trap. As Kelly's hypnotized him in a way of you're going to play my game today, young man. That's exactly what's happening.
A lot of excitement in this matchup. Strider, how you feeling?
I can barely contain myself, Joe. Honestly, this has been so fun to watch. The mind games, just the internal battles happening between the two. Watching the tube rides, the unsuccessful, the successful, watching them go back and forth out here. It is absolutely lived up to every expectation you could think of. Here we go. Let's take a look at Kelly.
Kelly standing up and not finding anything. Priority back and forth.
Yeah.
Just like Strider was saying, even the waves they're not making are incredible and entertaining. Seeing the head games out there on who's going to make a move with priority or without. Toledo now with a shot again to try to turn this heat.
Well, he's got 6 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. He needs a 5.98. A 5.98 is basically a couple of big turns for Filipe. There may be a little air at the end or one big air. You know, I mean, that's kind of the game that Filipe plays. But at the moment, the kind of waves that he's catching, it's almost like he's falling into this tube riding fest with Kelly Slater. The crowd is growing on the beach. We haven't seen this entire event. I mean, this is classic stuff right now. I'm with Strider. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Only surfer Toledo's lost to this year has been John Florence. Back on the Gold Coast and then in the final of Bells. And Toledo is the high seed left in the draw with a big opportunity to chase down that Jeep Leaders jersey at this event on finals day. Kelly coming off his quarterfinal result, losing to Ryan Callanan at Bells, has matched that result as he's moving closer to the top 10 picture. So he knows how important it is for him to keep this momentum going. Toledo, the last man standing, not just in that top 5, but the top 10.
Yeah, incredible stuff. And what a shame if he kind of loses in this. He's got an opportunity to go all the way to the top, I think, Joe, hasn't he?
He sure does. He can chase down the Jeep Leaders jersey. Kelly on the second page of the Jeep leaderboard. Wow. 33rd on the Gold Coast and moved up quite a bit with that equal 5th at Bells.
And you know, at worst an equal 5th here, but if he moves through, he's got an opportunity to go well and truly up into that top 10. So a very important heat for both these guys. And you can see that even the competitors area is just everyone's living this heat right on the edge of their seat. I love it.
So Toledo needing to make the final to even be thinking about yellow heading into Margaret River. 4:45 to go. Qualifying for the tour. Feels like many years ago now, back in 2013. Was such a young teenager who was still trying to figure out the system on how to win major events. When he won the US Open at the QS level, things just started channeling in Filipe's favor at every venue on tour. And these are the heats that Slater always wants to be a part of, battling with the best guys in the world at 47, using his experience from competing on tour since the early 90s till 2019.
He's been competing longer than Filipe's been alive.
Sure has.
Oh my gosh.
Filipe's first trip to Indonesia was 2011. That was the 11th world title year for Kelly. Filipe had just inked a deal with Nike, and he came to surf Canggu, Karamas, and Lakey Peak. And he had an instant connection with all venues. That was back during the World Junior Championship days. Kelly's first trip back in '91, and back then Kelly actually traveled with a lot of the Australians on tour. He came to one of the islands in Indonesia with Shane Powell, Shane Herring, Todd Prestige. I believe even Sonny Aberton was on that trip, and they got some great waves. And that year was right before his world title year the following year in 1992.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall for a lot of surfers back in those days, Joe. I think I spent a few years on tour with Kelly and then decided, well, that's all she wrote. No one else is going to win a world title from here on in. And that was kind of true.
Pretty crazy when you look back at Kelly's longevity. We know as surfers that he's not just the greatest surfer ever, but one of the greatest athletes of all time, getting a couple of titles before Filipe Toledo was born. And just dominating the 90s. Won in 92, then Derek Coe won in 93, and then Kelly went on that hot streak and just took out the world. Finally took a break in 99, 2000, 2001 to come back more inspired to compete for world titles into his 30s. And now at 47, wants to be the oldest world champ in history once again to break his own record. 2:15 to go. Priority still with Toledo. Ricardo, multiple-time Brazilian national champ, has competed at the top stage of pro surfing. Knows it's coming down to maybe one more decision in this heat. Waves on the way here. This one just rolling through. Toledo holding priority. Strider in the water for this seed. How's Toledo feeling right now?
You know what? I think he's got a little confusion happening. You know, there's all these things that you can't see in a heat. And one of them was Ricardo Toledo waved him off of a really, really good wave that had a lot of open face. And Kelly was paddling back out. He looked back over when he didn't go at me. And I was like, wow. And it was so interesting to see. And it was a wave that he could have done what Potts was talking about. Get those turns in, make that point of difference, get that into the air. And I think that might have been the turning point of this heat for his headspace. And so ever since then, it looks like he's been trying to fit something in.
Interesting. Thank you, Strider, for the insight from the water. So Toledo being a little selective. Just needing a mid-range score to turn this heat, but now he's down to 45 seconds.
Well, it's those little moves that make a big difference, Joe. I think once you're in the water, you've got to really make your own choice of waves. Toledo now making a move, 35 seconds remaining. Looks like one last opportunity here. What does he need to do? I think he needs to go this wave.
You're coming down to this wave, Filipe Toledo. Recovers on the stumble on the takeoff. One big ramp, and he can't get the takeoff off the big section with 10 seconds to go. Kelly Slater is fired up. One of the most amped up celebrations we've seen from the 11-time world champ Slater, feeling that taste of victory as he will be moving on to the semifinals here at the Corona Bali Protected.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised, Joe. You know, Kelly Slater going for a big 360 there, but Filipe from the get-go was playing right into the hands of Kelly. He kind of, in a way, just said, you know what, son, you're going to play my game today. Filipe even breaking his board just to rub salt into the wound. You know, had he played his game, had Filipe surfed this wave like he's been surfing at this entire event, it would have been a no-brainer for Toledo. He's been dropping big scores all the way through. The tube ride has kind of not been the biggest scoring maneuver here so far at this event. It's been those big aerials, and Toledo did not do one the entire event.
It's really
the entire heat, sorry.
Well, I'm really impressed with Kelly's win, one of the biggest of the season, into his first semifinal appearance of 2019. Kelly moving on. The final heat of the quarterfinals coming up next with Ace Buchan taking on Kanoa Igarashi. We'll bring in Ronnie Blakey, Luke Egan, and a very special guest for the call right after this.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.